So we continue on our topic, laws of Iska. So meaning how to enter the partnership, but how to enter the partnership. Okay. It's not. I mean, partnership is a bottom line. That's how we treat. But how to lend another person money, and in some sense charge interest. So I mean, it's not going to call interest because of technicalities that we learn about, right? Meaning what? That you give person to invest your money, and he is going to be responsible for that money, but it's not going to be like a loan. So what is the difference? Just quickly, I just want to cover a few points from last time, so we have a better understanding. Loan is different. Loan is if you give somebody a loan, as soon as person takes the money, that's it. Money is his. He does not have to return this specific money. He can scatter the money, give it to homeless person, whatever he wants to do, no problem, or buy himself car or coffee, whatever he wants, she wants, but they have to return no matter what. So even they took money from us, right, a loan. They go out of from our house, from our apartment building, right, and they got robbed. So they still owe us money. So they never used that money for 1 second. But they still they owe us everything. So that's the loan, right? But here, it's not like that. So meaning that the responsibility of both of them, meaning that the person who invests and the person who's like a manager of this investment. Don't remember what the term reduce. I mean, we'll see. I don't remember, but we're going to see like a manager of this investment. So meaning that both of them are going to benefit, right? So profits is going to split, and also the losses are going to split, right? And plus, we said very important point. I think last halacha, one before last. So we said that we have to pay this manager salary, right? So it's very very important. Why do you need to pay salary? There are 4 categories of the watchers, right? Shomrim, and one category is called like paid watcher. Meaning what? That he's responsible if something goes bad. I mean, not beyond his control, but normally, right? If he forgot and something got stolen, so he's responsible, right? So, but in this case, we have to pay money. Okay, so that's a little introduction. Of course, I mean, there were much more details, but just to get the basics. Okay, so halacha number 3, Siman 66 and halacha number 3. And it says, they may also stipulate that the recipient has an option that if he wishes to give the investor such and such amount for the investor portion of the profit, he will be permitted to do so, while any additional profit will remain his. Okay, meaning this fixed income, right? Fixed. If he does this, he will not be liable for liable to an oath, since he had paid the maximum amount for which he may be liable to pay. Okay, this way it is a proper one. For presumably the recipient will not wish to take an oath, and he will give the investor the amount that they stipulated between them, regardless of the actual amount of the profit or loss. This is the Heter Iska. Okay, that's a keyword, Heter Iska. That is customary among us. Okay, so we have tons of commentaries. So don't be scared. If you don't understand, we're going to go over and try to explain all of the details. And even if the recipient himself knows afterwards that he did not profit, or even if he incurred the loss, he may still give the investor the full principal along with the profit that they agreed upon, and there is no Ribbis prohibition involved. For since he has an obligation to take an oath, as set forth in a previous Seif, he may be exempt from taking an oath with his money. That is by paying the amount agreed upon. So meaning what? Even with this, those shomrim, these watchers, they call it watchers, guardians, right? That if they say I had a loss, so the guy say, let's say we pay him to watch over our cow, right? And he said somebody like a gang came and they show me the gun, or like they were threatening me, and they took the cow. Okay, so this he would need to take an oath that that's what exactly happened, and he did not steal the cow, right? So, and some people, in order not to take an oath, not to pronounce Hashem's name, right? They prefer. They would say, "Look, I'm going to pay." It's not because they're guilty, but because they prefer not to take an oath. I mean, it's their option. It says clearly that Hashem said, "Look, if you need to swear, swear in my name." So meaning, but people know if they swear in Hashem's name and it's not true, they're going to get cursed. You understand? So some people say, look, holy, God-fearing people would think, look, maybe I'm wrong, maybe this, maybe that. So I don't want this trouble. If I can resolve this issue with money, so let me pay money. Okay, so, and it's known thing. It's not, so we don't suspect the person right away that just because he paid is because he's guilty. No, he heard about oath and he decided I'm going to pay. Okay. From the beginning with commentaries, and we try to explain. They may also stipulate that the recipient of this option, that he wishes to give the investor such and such amount for the investor portion of the profit. So he said, okay, well, there is an example. Okay, so they stipulate how much this investor is going to get back. So it's not like a percentage-wise, let's say 50-50, right? This investor is going to get such and such amount, and the rest, this guy is going to get, the manager, the borrower. Okay, he will be permitted to do so, while any additional profit will remain his, right? So as we said, so maybe they say, I don't know, in any units, like he's going to get 100 back, whatever he invests, and plus 20, right? Plus 20, and this guy, maybe he made another 50, right? From, right? So he's going to pay 20 and keep 50 to himself, right? So that's fine. So, but let's see other details. If he does this, he will not be able to, not able to take oath, since he had paid the maximum amount which he may be liable to pay. So in this case, he does not need to swear how much it was the profit. So today maybe it's easier with still people cook books, right? So, so I mean they falsify information. But okay, but let's say, but in olden days there were no books, or a very primitive accounting system. So like you would need this person to swear that that's the whole money that the whole profit. Okay. So, but if he said that I'm going to pay you 20, right, and he paid 20, there is no oath. We cannot make him to take an oath because he is paying maximum. You understand? So that's the point. So let's see note number 8. Using the example described above, they may stipulate any profit realized above 200 will belong exclusively to recipient. Okay, so meaning they invest, I don't know what was the example, maybe they invest 1,000, right, and 200 is going to investor it gets, and above everything above 200 gets this borrower. They call him recipient, and borrower is the same thing. Well, let's call him recipient. Okay. Thus, since the profit is shared equally, the investor will never have a claim to more than 1,000 principal and 100 profit. Okay. So basically, okay. So here we go. So in this investor invested 1,000, and they projected this the revenue of 200, and this 200 they're going to split. So meaning split in two, meaning 50-50, and the investor is going to get 100. So this investor is never going to get more than 1,100. That's the thing. So meaning, but if the profit is going to be more, so this recipient is going to get, okay. And he does not need to swear, because that's it. That's a maximum. Okay. Because of this stipulation, in the case that the recipient declares that the full 200 profit from the revenue, from the venture, it is not necessary for him to take an oath that the profit was not greater, since the recipient will exercise his option to pay 100 in lieu of all profits. Meaning that does not matter how much the profit is, he's going to pay only 100. Okay, no problem. And this investor cannot make him swear. According to Rabbi Moshe Feinstein, Igros Moshe, Yorek Deya, Volume 2, Paragraph 62, and Volume 3, Paragraph 40, the recipient must agree to invest in a venture where the expected return, according to the opinion of the expert, is at least double the amount that the investor will be paid if the recipient does not take an oath. Thus, for example, where it was stipulated that the recipient may pay $100 in lieu of taking an oath, the expected return on 1,000 investor must be minimum of 200. Let's read one more time and try to understand what new information Rabbi Moshe Feinstein Zatzal is saying. Okay, so he's saying again, the recipient must agree, recipient meaning the borrower, must agree to invest in a venture where the expected return, according to the opinion of the experts, is at least double the amount the investor will be paid if the recipient does not take an oath. I'm not sure about logic. We need to see why Moshe Feinstein said, but I understand what it says here. So Moshe Feinstein Zatzal is saying that this guy is borrowing $1,000, but he can invest only, so he's going to make exactly like minimum the same amount that he's going to pay to an investor. So if he's going to pay investor as in our case 100, so that this business must make at least 200. Okay. So in this case, he would not need to take an oath. Thus, for example, where was stipulated, the recipient may pay 100 in lieu of taking an oath, right? The expected return of 1,000 invested must be minimum 200. So, and the rest, if it's more than 200, this investor is going, this recipient is going to keep. Again, I'm not sure about explanation, but I mean the explanation is but the statement is straightforward. Okay, so meaning at least they're going to be 50-50. Okay, but even if the way I understand, even if this guy actually no, I thought that he must pay 1,100 no matter what. I don't think so. No, it's not going to be this partnership. It would be more like a loan. Okay. So continue. This way it is proper. This way is a proper one, for presumably the recipient will not wish to take an oath, and he will give the investor the amount that they stipulated between them, regardless whether actual amount is profit or loss. So, and Kitzur is saying that. I mean, that's very interesting. So he said, of course, if this recipient say that I thought that we're going to make 200, but actually we took a loss and we still owe like I don't know. It was not 200. We made only 50. Let's say possible, right? We made only 50. So he would need to take an oath because on the loss, but he's not obligated to, right? He can pay this 100, but from his own pocket basically, right? And in this case, he would not be required to take an oath. And some people, as we said before, in order not to take oath, that they would prefer to pay from their own pocket. Okay, that's their own option. I mean, right? They can do their own choice. Commentary. Due to the severity, people shan't take an oath, even though their claim is true and legitimate. Right? Meaning, if person, God forbid, like maybe they worded a little different, some strange wording, and it's not exactly as he's claiming to. Right, and if he lied and used HaShem, the name of HaShem in vain, so he's going to get cursed. So many people, as we said, they would prefer to give money and do not swear. In order to defer this date, the recipient from taking an oath, the investor may stipulate that oath be taken while holding the Sefer Torah, and even that is should be taken in the presence of the entire congregation in time of the Torah reading in the synagogue. And there is included a curse upon the soul if he is not stating the truth. Igras Moreshe Yorak Deya 2, probably we learned, but I don't remember. Chapter 62. So let's try to understand what the big idea is. So it's like make it similar, like the bottom line, as a lending with interest. So when person lends with interest, he needs his money back, no matter what, right? He does not care the business was good, the business was bad. I mean, he needs his money back with the interest. So in this case, so this investor may say, okay, so if you like, I want my money back, all the interest. You say that the venture is good, I'm going to get my 100 back. Very good. I trust you. You're smart. You wear glasses, so maybe you read a lot of books. Maybe it's not from TV, right? Okay, maybe, right? So and he said, okay, I'm trusting you, but I want my money back. You understand? I want my money back. So, but if you say that we have a loss, so I would make you swear, but not only swear like to me, like in front of maybe two witnesses, not in the court. No, I want you to swear holding the Sefer Torah. That's the biggest one, and not only holding the Sefer Torah, but also in the presence of the whole congregation on Shabbos, and not only in the presence of the whole congregation, but with a curse on a person who is lying. So most of the people, I mean, normal people or even abnormal people, but they have a little brain, they would refuse this. Refuse meaning that refuse not refuse completely, but they would prefer the second option to pay money. Okay, so in some sense, like it is a like steady income, if you can say that. Very interesting. Let me read the whole sentence again. This way is proper one. For presumably the recipient will not wish to take an oath. Like as we just explained, we put him in a situation so he can take an oath. No, nobody's stopping him. since it is investment, so he's allowed to take an oath. So when you have a partnership with somebody, he invested 100, you invested 1,000, he invested 1,000, and then you bought these tomatoes, and they were supposed to be good, but they were rotten inside or something, like frozen or something, like not good. You cannot sell it. So you're taking a loss. So you invest all this money, and out of 2,000 you get only 500. That's it. That's normal. That's normal business practice, right? You invest and you can lose. Okay, you wanted to gain, but you lost, right? But here the guy wants his money back, so that's why we apply this pressure on this recipient, right? And we will give the investor the amount that they should stipulate between them, right? So in this case, if he give him amount what is stipulated between them, meaning this 100, so he cannot demand more, and he said, right, he cannot demand more. Maybe it was double what is it, return. It does not make any difference. He can get only 100 back. Okay, and he will give the investor amount that is stipulated between them, regardless of the actual amount of profit or loss. So that's how you force this recipient, this this recipient to pay exactly what was agreed upon, without without actually do any halakhic violations. This is the Heter Iska that is customary among us. So let's see the two commentaries. Heter Iska is translated as allowance through the an Iska venture. Okay, so allowance through the venture. Okay, is device through which one can be presumably assured a specific return on his money without transgressing Ribbis prohibitions. So meaning that the second guy has an option. Okay, Ribbis prohibition. This is accomplished by the means of an agreement such as described above, that lays down terms and conditions for stipulating the transaction such that it becomes an Iska venture rather than a loan. So again, loan is not good. So loan, when you give somebody a loan, he must, as we explained in the beginning, he must return everything. Doesn't matter what happened. As we said, everything was stolen after 1 hour, but he must pay back. But he's not allowed to give us interest. But in this case, in the case of investment, yeah, there is no problem. In some sense, you're partner with this person. You can be a partner. There is no problem. Consequently, with every Iska, investor return has a legal status of profit on the investment, which is permitted, provided, right? So, I mean, you partners, you can divide the profit. Okay. Provided that it is done in a permissible manner set forth above in the Seif 1, rather than interest on a loan. Okay, so interest on a loan is forbidden, right? So, and this Iska loan, it's like you have nothing to do with that, like business money. But investment, like business investment, you have everything to do with the money. Okay, by stipulating the condition delineated in the previous year, the investor is virtually certain that he will receive the agreed upon return on his investment, since it is improbable that the recipient will fulfill the conditions that were stipulated in order to prove the loss or lesser gain. All right. On the other hand, the recipient will never have to pay more than agreed upon return if there was a larger profit, because he will exercise his right to pay fixed amount. Okay, so it's actually like two sides benefit from that. The investor benefits that he's going to get his money anyway, and the recipient benefits, like even if he's going to get like a much more profit, he's going to pay only the fixed amount, which is good. Okay. It's like in a bank, maybe if you have saving account, And I mean, there is also CD account. CD meaning CD. I think it's certificate of deposit or something. I don't know. Whatever is it, right? So meaning you give them money, and they pay you, let's say 3%, 3.5% annual income. Okay, let's say I think 3.5 is a good percent, right? But they might make 25%. I don't know. I'm just saying 17%, whatever they make, right? But they pay you only 3.5. So that's like in some sense that's what's going on here, and this meaning this recipient also benefits. So in times even he's going to lose, like logically in one venture. Okay, it's better for him just to pay whatever he was stipulated without all the swearing, without all these things, and um, right, and then continue investing. Okay. One second. Continue. Nevertheless, since there is no guarantee of the profit, and theoretically the investor can, in fact, lose even half of his capital, if it can be proven that the venture failed completely. Therefore, as with every Iska, he is an investor on an investment portion rather than lender. Right. So as we said, theoretically he can lose, like business fell through, like possible. Okay. So, but he can lose only up to half. So meaning not completely, but up to half. How is it possible? Okay. So one more time we're going to explain. Now, since there is no guarantee of the profit, as everywhere, right? Theoretically, the investor can in fact lose even half of his capital if it can be proven that the venture failed completely. So meaning that the half was landed to this investor, and half was given to invest. Okay, so that's why he can lose his half that he gave somebody to invest. Therefore, with every Iska, he is an investor, meaning on his investment portion, meaning 50%, rather than lender. The authorities caution that the parties involved must be aware that the Heter Iska is not magical device to permit lending with Ribbis, but rather a legal way of framing transactions so that constitute as investment rather than loan. So, and they give all of this, the list of of the sources. So we have to be careful. Of course, we have to go to qualify a rabbi who does these business loans. Business loans, it's not so simple. So he would look through the business, right, and he knows what to look for and how to construct this loan. But for us, like in general, we're trying just to get general idea. And next commentary on the Kitzur, when he says it is customary among us. Number 11. One should realize that although properly drawn and executed Iska document may be used without hesitation by someone who would otherwise be unable to lend money, right? One who is capable of lending money, interest free, is required to do so. So, meaning what? So, I mean, if person has no other way, like it's a lot of money, and he is afraid that right, I don't know, because of inflation, this and that. So if he's going to lend somebody without interest, so he's going to lose. But if he has money and he can do without this business investment, it's better to do that. So it's better for people to get together, be partners, not investing in somebody's business, because, as we said, there's some problems. Could be, right? As the Kitzur writes below 179.1, the mitzvah of granting an interest-free loan to a person is indeed not merely meritorious, but in fact obligatory, right? And that's what we said in our class of laws of tzedakah and mussar, right? Especially in this last part, epilogue, right? As Holy Chofetz Chaim explained to us, that it's very, very good thing to do, right? It's not only meritorious but obligatory to keep healthy society. Okay. I see also Achavas Chesed, exactly, volume 2, chapter 15, where Chofetz Chaim decries at length the practice of those who immediately upon earning few rubles, invest them for a monetary gain, thus forging the immense profit awarded to one who fulfilled the mitzvah of lending money to the needy for a relatively insignificant monetary profit. Right, so meaning when you lend the needy, first of all, we said he can take it from mussar, so he can set part of mussar. We said maybe 50%, like from your mussar, but from month to month you can collect a big amount, right, and maybe create society with other people, like combine and lend to the needy. But people try to invest and squeeze every penny. Okay, so continue. And even if the recipient himself knows afterwards that he did not profit, meaning he paid already and he knows he did not profit, or even if he incurs a loss, he may still give investor the full principal along with the profit that they agreed upon. And there is no Ribbis prohibition involved. So, I mean, it's his own choice. He can go swear, but most likely the person is not going to swear, right? To call a curse upon himself, right? So he would prefer to pay and maybe do different business. Okay, not all businesses succeed. For since he has an obligation to take an oath, as set forth in the previous Seif, he may exempt himself from taking an oath with his money, that is by paying amount agreed upon. So you either pay money, right, or you take an oath. Commentary. There is an extra money that he gives that was not as a result of the profit from the investment, meaning from his own pocket. Is not given in a return for the loan, but rather exempt himself from taking obligation on oath. So let me quickly read this number 2 that they say the oath. Okay, so one more time. Number 2 that we did last halacha, we did last time, because he said already 3 times or 4 times, refer to this. So one more time. Kitzur now set for the further condition that may permissibly be attached to the Iska agreement. There is a resulting agreement is that one can be used, the one who seeks an assured specific return on his money without transgressing Ribbis. Okay, so here we go. When setting up an Iska agreement, they may stipulate that the recipient should not be trusted. So that he incurs a loss on the principal, unless it is stipulated through the testimony of 2 valid witnesses. Okay, so that's point I forgot. So it could be stipulated that he need witnesses. So go find witnesses. That's how I lost the money. Okay, and on a claim with regard to the profit, he should be trusted without taking an oath. Should not be trusted. So meaning. Unless, as we said in this Seif, that they stipulated a specific amount, and this guy, the investor, is going to pay this specific. The recipient is going to pay specific amount. In this case, he does not need to swear. So let me quickly see if we have any questions. One second, let me see if I have any questions. Okay, no questions. Okay, no problem. So let's do one more Seif because it's very short. So it says, in this Seif Kitzur, so it's number 4. Kitzur describes the methods of ensuring specific return on one's own money without actually lending with interest. However, this method is nevertheless forbidden. Okay, so let's see. However, an agreement for the recipient to acquire the portion of investor's profit in return for the payment of such and such amount, which would require him to give investor afterward such and such an amount, regardless of the amount of profit, is forbidden. Rather, it must be done in a manner that the recipient has an option of exempting himself with the oath. Okay, so let's try to understand. So one more time, this number 4, and we try to explain. In this Seif, Kitzur describes some methods of ensuring specific return on one's money without actually lending with interest. Okay. However, this method is nevertheless forbidden. Okay, so I mean, sounds exactly the same, but it's forbidden. Okay, what is it? However, an agreement for the recipient to acquire the portion of investment profit, recipient to acquire a portion of investor's profit. So meaning all of the money, let's say, like simple understanding what we said. All of the money, all of the profits must go to investor, right? To investor, but he can get something from it, right? In return for the payment for such and such amount. So meaning, if this, it's very interesting set. If this recipient, he wants part of the profit. So in order to get the part of the profit, he's willing to pay the investor such and such amount. I mean, it sounds exactly only sounds exactly as we said before. So meaning that he wants the part of the profit, and he said, I'm going to pay you 100. Okay. Which would require him to give investor afterwards and such amount, regardless of the amount of profit. So I want to be with you in this business, and I'm willing to pay you such and such amount in order to get the profit. I mean, that's what he gets, profit, because the principal he has to return anyway, right? And this is prohibited. So let's see commentary. There is the recipient that purchases the right to investor's share of the profit for a set amount, and thus pays the amount without needing to take an oath. So meaning that he said, look, what? I have example. What would be example? I don't know. Let's forget about the example. So meaning that this recipient said, look, I want to pay you for the right to have you profit. So profit could be 3%. I mean, let's say 10. Right, 20, whatever units, right? Or look, it could be 150 and it could be 7, it depends, right? But I can offer you 100, but in return for this, right? That I offer you 100, you gave me all of the profits. So that's the thing. Very interesting. So okay, so this is prohibited. So why is it prohibited? Commentary. Although it is a standard business practice for an investor to sell his portion of the profit in a venture for the set amount, right? So meaning bottom line is the same, right? With the buyer receiving rights for all profits, meaning this investor gets limited profits, and this receiver, they call him buyer, okay, I'm not sure why, okay, but the buyer gets the rest of the profits, could be double, right? Whereas a large or small, nevertheless, in this case, when the investor makes such a deal with the recipient, it appears like an interest on a loan. That's it. I mean, different wording, it's like backwards, but looks like the bottom line, it looks like interest on a loan rather than profit on investment, meaning he bought these rights, but it's still interest on a loan, and therefore prohibited. See Shulchan Aruch Harav, Hilchas Ribbis, chapter 40, also Chachmas Adam. Okay, number 14. Continue. Rather, it must be done in a manner that the recipient has the option of exempting himself with an oath, meaning that he did not sell the rights completely, meaning the investors and investor, as we said many times, can lose everything on investment, right? I mean, government confiscated for like they try to export these things, and the other government just confiscated for whatever reason, right? So you lost everything. Not all everything. You even owe money to the transportation company. Okay. In such a case, it is not similar to interest on a loan, since if the profits were not realized, or if there was a loss, the recipient has the option of taking an oath and not paying for a stipulated amount. Okay? So meaning, right, one more time, in such a case, it is not similar to interest on is not similar to interest, meaning interest you must pay, but this you're not obligated to pay, right? If you're not obligated to pay if you take an oath, if the profits were not realized, right, or there was a loss, the recipient has the option of taking an oath and not paying the stipulated amount. Okay, so that's the explanation, right? That's why this is forbidden and the previous one is allowed. So I mean, we see like many technical details, and looks like on the surface of it, looks exactly the same. The bottom line is exactly the same, but because of the technical details, it's not the same. Again, like big picture, what is allowed? What is allowed was only investment as a partners, not what is it? Not loan. Okay. So let's stop here.